Hello everyone, welcome to this week's blog. As you can see, we're in video format again, but both of us this time. And we thought it would be fun actually, as it's nearly the end of the year, it's nearly Christmas obviously. We thought it would be good to have a little look back over 2017 and see where we've come from. It's our first year as Polygon Treehouse, so it's been a big year, and yeah, we thought we'd have a little chat about what we've been up to, where we are now, all the things we've done.
Yeah, absolutely. So, well, it's the founding year for the studio, yeah, a lot of stuff's happened. So I'm guessing, like we started the studio. The studio itself was founded in March, although no one knew about it at that point.
Secret.
Yeah, it was
Secret Studios.
Super secret Squirrel Studios, and then we were kind of beavering away on developing ideas and what type of game we wanted to make, and it was so I think it was May, the start of May, that we came out into the open and revealed ourselves.
Well, it was a trailer, wasn't it? I guess that was the first big thing. Was instead of us diving straight into game development, I think we were very mindful that we didn't want to announce and be like, hey, we've started something new, and then just have like a game title, or not even have that, and just be some studio that no one knew about or cared about. We wanted to have some gold at the end of the rainbow, so we decided that doing a trailer would be a good first step to have something to show, didn't we?
Yeah, and I think I think still now looking back at the trailer, I'm pretty well. I think we're both probably pretty pleased with how it turned out. I think it did hit a good mark of being intriguing, showcasing one of our major strengths, which is the art style and art production, both from an art background, but without giving too much away about the game. So I think it was quite a good teaser trailer.
Do you know what? Actually, in hindsight, I'd love to say this was foresight, but in hindsight, I think one of the real strengths from it is that once it was out there, it was kind of, we're locked in. This is what we're doing. We now have this art style we're committed to. We have a game we're committed to, and so I think it removes that possibility of kind of procrastination or changing things. It set us off, and once we were on that path, I think it expedited stuff massively. As a way of kind of focusing our minds and what we wanted to do. I think it was a really valuable exercise. Even not actually revealing it or sending it to press, I still think it would have been a really good exercise to do, which is quite an interesting takeaway from it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's a huge upside to that kind of commitment to a direction or idea that it just allows you to kind of cross things off the list. You're making games, there's so many different variables in play at any one time, and to be able to kind of narrow your focus a little bit and take some of those variables off the table of stuff you're exploring was really handy. Yeah, and so I think Eurogamer and Kotaku broke the trailer for us, which was really cool.
Yeah, Eurogamer. Yeah.
And
yes, big thanks to them.
Yeah, big thanks to them. And so that was really nice, and I think that was a big boost for us. At that point we were still, we were very excited about what we were doing, but we weren't entirely sure whether anyone would really care. We'd be even away on this thing in our respective studies / spare bedrooms. So that was a real boost for us, just to go, oh, okay, excuse me, people are interested, and actually the reaction post the announcement was really cool, and I think that gave us a really good solid base to build upon, both in the production of Röki, the game, and also in our kind of marketing community efforts, I think.
Yeah, no, it was a really good springboard. I mean, like you said, I think coming off the back of being part of Sony and Guerrilla for so long, such a big company and brand that everyone knows what you're doing all the time. So to then be out in the wild, just the two of us, I think it was incredibly exciting and liberating. But yeah, that whole are we doing the right thing? Is anyone going to like what we're doing? And obviously that's still a question mark, but perhaps not quite as big a question mark as it was several months ago. I think so far all the feedback's been really positive actually. People seem to like what we're doing, definitely from a visual point of view. So yeah, I want to guess maybe that segues nicely into then what we've done since the trailer. So we obviously had some ideas for what the game was, and when we fleshed out the trailer, but you know, it's easier for 60 seconds. You don't necessarily have to decide everything. But after that, we wanted to flesh out the story more and actually have a better understanding of what the whole game experience was going to be. So we, sat down and pulled some story ideas together. I think it was an iterative process, as these things always are. I think often one of the things I quite like to do is do something and then leave it for a bit and then go back to it and see if it's kind of stood the test of time, and you kind of instantly you go, yeah, I still like that, or you know, actually what we're thinking that's a bit naff, or maybe that doesn't actually hold up to some of our core pillars that we set out at the start. So I think that's really important. And then from the story we started doing some actual design tests in game, in Unity and Adventure Creator, and then we slowly kind of broadened that out into designing a larger part of the game. So I'm rambling now.
No, I think that was really interesting point. So it's just going really wide and exploring what the game was. And I think, like Tom was saying, it's good to work iteratively and do a pass over something and let it breathe. Often you can get blind to things because you're staring at something day in, day out. So be able to come back to something with fresh eyes and keep on working up pass by pass is really cool. The nice thing about fleshing out the broad plot for the game and all the three acts of the game was we'd start to get a feel for the scope of the worlds that we were creating. Obviously, we don't have a huge team at the moment. It's still just the two of us, and so that was really important to get an idea of how we're going to create this large world with different locations with just the two of us. But it was great. It was really, I remember the first time we started blocking out some really rough scenes in the second act of the game just to get a feel for how big and expansive the world felt. Just like walking around certain bits of it, how do you get from A to B? Does it feel like, does it feel small? Does it have that sense of being out in the open in the wilderness that we wanted? And that was really exciting. Taking that step from going from some of the paper design just to blocking stuff out really roughly in game, even if it's just like walking around, was pretty exciting actually. Yeah.
Well, and then we obviously started to layer in actual gameplay as well. So a lot of the puzzles in the game, and it's an adventure game, so it sticks quite closely to a lot of the tropes you'd expect from that in terms of object collection and an inventory, and then looking for ways to combine objects or use objects in certain scenarios and speaking to characters to get things. And actually the middle of the game is a large part of that, which is why we chose that to test things out. But that was actually, I think, quite an important step. A, to work out if it was going to be fun. B, to work out if it was feasible in terms of the tool set we were using to make sure we could do it. Obviously our background is art based, not necessarily design based, even though we've been involved with that. So it was a step to go and do everything like that ourselves. And then I think that it allowed us to get used to that process. And in many ways, I think something I'd not really appreciated before, which is kind of really obvious, is that it's actually very hard to tell if it's any good yourself, particularly with puzzle games, because I think you implicitly know the answer to the puzzle, so it's very hard to then judge whether it is a good puzzle or not, how hard it is. So actually having this kind of grey box section that we could let some friends play, and we could work on in isolation and let each other play, I think was very informative of what things worked well, what the difficulty was, and how we should push forward. And then that fed back into the plot and the story, because those things are so interlinked. You don't want to do one without the other too heavily, and allowed us to again kind of slowly and incrementally improve on everything.
And so I guess that was a good couple of months. That was over the summer, wasn't it? Because I remember being quite hot when we were doing all that stuff, and it was kind of strange it being so roasting outside.
And we got immediately sunburned, like 10 minutes into design conversation.
Yeah, and then
Hashtag fail.
and then it was quite a weird juxtaposition to have it being really roasting, and then we were plunging ourselves into this wintry wilderness of the game, which was strange. But after that point, I think then we started. We got a feel for the world and the scope of it. So we wanted to then narrow our focus and look at the vertical slice. At that point, it was really broad brushstrokes where we were really kind of bashing everything in. A lot of the animation stuff was still pretty rudimentary, I think it's safe to say. So from then going wide, we thought we got a lot out of that, but then we wanted to go narrower and produce a tighter, more focused bit of gameplay, which essentially would be our vertical slice.
Yeah.
So this would be something that was much more polished. Not, to be honest, like the art stuff is pretty. It doesn't take much polishing. It's quite minimal style, so that's something we were most confident with. I think it's some of the other areas that we were really keen to push and polish. So the vertical slice essentially is 35 minutes of gameplay, depending on who's playing it. And it's the opening section of the game, and it's been really good testbed for looking at UI, how the player is interacting with objects, and how we're telegraphing certain things to the players. They can understand what options are open to them.
Do you know what I think is really important as well, is actually you have to take stuff to a finished standard to work out where you need to leave space. So for example, if you create a scene of the character, and there's a couple of puzzles and she's walking from location to location, you need to have the confidence that then adding in the audio and the music and the final graphics and all the layers of inventory and icons and everything like that is going to take it to the required level, so that you don't then end up putting in more art or putting in more characters to interact with, or shortening that experience time because you feel like it's not dense with impact enough. And so for me, that's actually part of what we're doing now. Is very helpful in terms of going, okay, well, here are all the little pieces and how they then combine together. It's like at uni, when we were doing our projects back then, and how important music was. Because it just elevates. Or even at Sony, whenever we were looking at new stuff, a lot of the time we'd get music tracks sorted first for trailers and things, because it makes such a massive difference.
Yeah, so it's interesting. Like, we have started speaking to some composers about like original music for the game, but for the purposes of the vertical slice, we basically just we found some
library music.
Yeah, it's library music essentially. It was a good fit, and it was really interesting getting that in, because suddenly I think we had a week where we did an audio pass on the vertical slice, and it just elevated everything. And even like with placeholder assets, it was pretty cool. The whole world suddenly came alive in a different way, which was really cool. And like Tom says, like about the frequency and the density of the gameplay, you want to allow like space to breathe as well. Like there's a game about being out in the open, expanse, and actually just letting the musical do a lot of the work for you in the atmosphere. We're trying to generate quite a strong atmosphere in the game. I think just packing it too densely with stuff to do just kind of like kills some of that in some ways. So that's kind of quite interesting. It's like bits of music, you need contrast, you need lulls, and you need areas of action or that are more tightly packed with goodies and stuff to do, but you definitely need that contrast there.
Is this where we go into the action part of our video now?
The action part?
Of this video blog?
No, most definitely not.
Sorry. This is the kind of witty humour we have between us. So yeah, I mean, I guess that's where we are now. We're actually nearly finished with the vertical slice, which is really good, and then we'll go wide again. Just being the two of us, things take a bit longer than they used to. But the flip side of that is I think we're able to be very decisive quite quickly. You know, both experienced and not too proud of stuff either. So I think we're very adaptable to change when things need to change.
Not too precious.
Not too precious, yeah.
We are very proud.
It's a difference. So I think that's really important as well. And I guess the flip side, going kind of concurrently alongside all of that, has been the kind of marketing push and trying to build on the initial announcement and make sure that we stay present with people.
Yeah, that's a pretty interesting one, but I suggest that we cut here and we'll leave that one for next week, because we've been prattling on for quite some time, so we'll split that off into a separate...
Ooh, that's going to be like 10 seconds talk now.
That's like, yeah, that's really packed full of suspense. So yeah, we'll call it there, and yeah, we'll continue part 2 of our roundup, yearly roundup, next time. Hope you enjoyed it. Bye.
Bye.